If you're looking for an awesome tumbler, but don't want to spend a fortune, check this out. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. Hey, I was out doing a little lawn drinking with some buddies. You know, you might be out this summer at the beach, on a boat, just drinking outside, and you want to keep your drink super cool. Now, this is probably something that can keep your drink super hot too, but I realized I didn't really have a good insulated cup for keeping a large beverage cold, and I wanted to check stuff out. Now, a lot of people were throwing out various words like Yeti, and I checked them out. Looks like comes with this little Arctic sticker, very patriotic. Kind of peels off here, and then you could put that on your car window, cooler, what have you. Polar bear, makes sense. But I checked out the Yetis, and I tell you what, you have to be a Vanderbilt to be able to own one of those. They are redonkulously expensive. Now, I found this RTIC. I know that this is a brand that's been around a while. I've never owned anything by them, but they seem to be pretty equivalent to Yetis and at a much, much cheaper price point. Now, they do come in a variety of styles, and I picked this one up in gray. I thought it looked cool. You can obviously get it in like the stainless steel, and that's probably what you've seen a lot, but I was really excited about finish that might not show fingerprints, might be a little easier to clean. Man, it looks great. Kind of looks like a space gray iPhone. Now, it is stainless steel, no sweat exterior, and this is the bigger one. It comes in a 20 ounce and a 30 ounce, I believe. I do like the logo. And Yeti, 4 letters, RTIC, 4 letters. There are some other ones. It's always funny to me because I grew up camping, and the big outdoor brands were like Coleman and things like that. And it's funny that I guess they rested on their laurels and companies came up and stole their market share. You do have the RTIC logo debossed in the bottom there. That's pretty cool looking too, and a sticker on the bottom. It actually has some heft to it. It's heavier than I expected. RTIC right there. Now, up here, you have that stainless steel peeking through, so I think maybe they kind of mask this off and powder coat all the way up there. There's a little ridge, you can kind of feel it. And then at the top here, we have what looks like a clear-ish lid, and man, it's on there tight, which is probably a good sign. Oh, okay, so it has a crazy big ring in there. You know, I'd call it like an O-ring, but it's like a vacuum ring. So that's going to kind of keep the air in. And you can see how heavy it is. Polycarbonate, I'm guessing. Slightly smoked, which will probably help keep out some of the sunlight. You can see here that there is a tab, so that's what I use to pull it off. And then you have an Arctic flip right here. So if I flip that over, it does clip on nicely there. This is all plastic, and this is rubberized right here. So it looks like it'll fill in this hole and keep that airtight as well. And you do have a little plug, which is rubberized as well, and that'll fill in this little breathing hole, so as you're drinking, air can get in so it doesn't go whoop, whoop, glove and then splash all over your face, and they end up showing you on Sunday night on America's Funniest Home Videos. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So I do like the fact that it holds up there pretty nicely, and then you can flip it down and then lock it in place right there. Now, the question is, how cold does it keep everything? Man, it provides you a lot of branding stuff. I guess that's one of the things, whether you're buying a Arctic or Yeti or any of these big companies, you kind of want to show people, you know, what your brand is. And for the people that are drinking out of a Yeti, I know you must be rich, because I was looking at that stuff and I can't afford it. Can't afford it. But 30 ounces is pretty big. So let's give this thing a test, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. Okay, so the first thing I did was I filled it to that little line right there where I think the top is going to seat. And so it is filled with ice, and now I'm just going to fill it with water straight from the tap. Not sure how much we can get in here. So now, got that filled up just about to the top. I'm gonna go ahead and press this top back on. Okay, today's heat is no joke. It is 89 degrees and 91 feels. So I'm just gonna put this out here. It's actually in the shade. I mean, kind of in the shade. It's not in direct sunlight. I didn't think that's totally fair. But if you're sitting out here with a cool drink, how long is this little sucker gonna last? So I'm gonna set the timer. I'm gonna check in on it in regular intervals, 30 minutes, an hour, hour and a half. Let's see if the ice lasts that long. Right, 30 minutes have elapsed, and as you can see here, the Arctic is in the sun, so it's getting a little sunny. And I'm just gonna pop this up here. And I definitely see some meltage of the ice cubes here, but I still have a big chunk of ice. It's actually so hot out here, I'm tempted to take a swig of it. But for science reasons, we're gonna let it sit and continue to bake. I think I'll come back here in another 30 minutes and see what it looks like. 1 hour out here in the sun. I've been doing yard work and I am darn tempted to drink what is ever in here because I'm getting parched, dude. You know that scene in Better Call Saul where he drinks his own urine? I'm not quite there, but you know, if it were frozen in a slushy, I'd probably take a gulp. Hey, this is 1 hour, 90-degree weather. I'm going to rip off the top here. Spoiler alert, you can already see through the polycarbonate that we have ice still in here. A decent amount. That water is still cold. I guess we're going to keep going here. I mean, I'll tell you what, if I were sitting out here drinking on a hot day, I'd still have cool, refreshing ice. Hey, obviously, this Arctic tumbler is working pretty well, but it's time to turn up the heat, literally and figuratively here. So I'm going to move it into the sun, and for the next 30 minutes, we are going to be in this blazing heat in direct sunlight as well. So, timer set. Man, it's hot, and I will admit, I went inside to get myself a drink, and 32-ish minutes later, coming out here, this Arctic in the hot sun. Again, this thing hasn't been open like it's been drunk or anything, but I tell you what, it's pretty clear. We still have ice in here, and obviously the water's got to be pretty cold to support that. They are definitely melting. They're quite a bit smaller than when we started, but the fact that we still have ice in there, and the fact that this outer coating, this gray paint, is really hot. I can actually grab it and it's like uncomfortable. I can grab it and pick it up, but I would actually say that I would probably want to wrap that with something if I were going to hold it in my hand, because just grabbing it like this is, ooh, it's a little painful. So having the color on the outside, a dark color like this, is going to absorb that heat. But given the fact that we have this paint on the outside, which is very hot, the inside obviously stays very cool. Whatever they're using here, the vacuum formed stainless steel or whatever, is obviously working really, really well. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to pour this out just to see how much ice we really have left in this thing. That's a pretty good, you know, big solid chunk of it down here. I am going to just end the experiment right now, but man, I'm impressed with this. Hey, for $10, this RTIC is actually an incredibly good deal. It works like a charm, and I think it is a quarter of the price of some of the other big brands that you might see in the space. So, hey, if you want to save yourself some money and get something that absolutely works, check it out. I'll put a link to it in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out.